Going on, everyone? This is Zaku here. Today I wanted to make a video to address something that I've been seeing for the last 10 days, I want to say. Ever since the conclusion of the national championship, after the Michigan UConn game, I've seen a lot of outlets, a lot of content creators coming out with lists of the last 10, last 15, last 20 championships and their teams ranked, right? A lot of them had the 2024 UConn up there in the top three. A lot of them in the number one spot, which is, I'm okay with it. Having 2024 UConn in the top three, having them at one, I think is debatable. And that's what I wanted to do today, is to create a little video just to kind of explain why I believe they are not the number one team. In fact, I think that the 2024, I'm sorry, 2025 Gators. I think the Florida team was better. Last year's champ. I think they were better than the 24 UConn team. And that could be a separate video for later. But I would put UConn at number 3 or 4. I would not put them at 1. So I kind of just put this little list together of important stats, numbers to kind of just kind of show what we're looking at in totality when it comes to showing why this 2026 Michigan team was superior. If you look, records were similar. Both won their conference outright. The only difference is I think UConn won their conference tournament, and Michigan obviously lost to Purdue. So that's like the only blemish when it comes to like having that perfect season, right? However, I don't think that not having that conference tourney championship should not take away from the fact that they are still the superior team, and here's why. So I used two sites for my resources. I used both KenPom and Evan Mia. So KenPom is obviously the go-to when it comes to finding the net rating for most of college basketball. You'll see that one a lot. Evan Mia, however, I don't think many people are familiar with. Evan Mia is used a lot for those that know. You got to be in the know to know kind of thing. I use that to look at player ratings and efficiencies. They do team rankings and player rankings as well. So I used obviously the team metrics when using Evan Mia. So KenPom rating. Let's just go down. Start from the top and go down. So KenPom rating. This is for their respective seasons. So you see 2024 UConn plus 36.43 net rating versus 26 Michigan 39.70. So 24 UConn's was number 1 for that season. Obviously, same for 26 Michigan, number 1 for their season. Offensive rating 127.5 versus 128.2. So this one's close. Michigan was actually 4. They were ranked number 4 for last season, and they still had a better rating when it came to comparing to 24 UConn. So that there tells me one thing already, that this season you had 4 teams. Just this past season, you had 4 teams that were offensively better than the 2024 UConn team. So that's one thing that stood out to me, and then that's what I want to use for my debate. Okay, let's go to defensive rating. KenPom had them at 91. Sorry, I cannot talk today. 91.1, which ranked 4. They were the 4th team in the defensive rating for the 24 season, and Michigan was number 1, 88.5. So that tells me already that Michigan, rating-wise, had a better offense and had a better defense. Strength of schedule. Here's another metric that a lot of people do not factor. A lot of people do not use. Great that 24 UConn was number 1 offensive rating for the season. That's awesome. But look at their strength of schedule. They were ranked number 12. They were ranked number 12, which is respectable, right? Like if you told me, oh, they had the 12th hardest schedule and they had the number one offense, that is very respectable. And I would say, yeah, they earned that rating. They fought through the adversity and they played good teams. But when you look at Michigan's, they had the number one strength of schedule. So Michigan already looking vastly superior here. Quad one record, 21-3 versus 17-3. Michigan has the edge there. Points per game, 87.3 versus 81.4. Opponents' points per game. So you'll look at, but Michigan had the better defensive rating. Why do they have more points scored against them? That they could have more points scored against them, but the defensive rating is taken into. It does take into account the opponent's points per game, but it also considers like how much the team is scoring on top of that. So almost like a margin of victory, the differential, which I probably should have added on here, but I did not. So yeah, UConn had fewer points per game scored on them throughout the season on average. Field goal percentage, Michigan shot the ball better. Field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage. They out rebounded UConn 40.1 to 38.8. Assists, slight edge to UConn there, 0.7 and 0.6. Steals, slight edge to UConn, 6.2 to 5.6. Blocks, 5.4 to 6.1. So we knew Michigan. I mean, at least I knew Michigan was going to lead in that category at least. The three-headed monster with Mara, Morez, and Lendeborg. Like we knew that fucking front court was going to. They're going to get theirs. You know what I mean? Whereas that 24 UConn team heavily relied on Donovan Clingan to clean up the front court and get those blocks in. So UConn a little bit more disciplined when it comes to turnovers, 9.6 on average versus 11.7. Early on in the season, I was very worried about the Wolverines. They turned over the ball a lot early, and I'm glad they cleaned it up a little bit, especially when it came into tournament play. I thought that they cleaned it up a lot. They turned over the ball less, which of course helped them on their championship run. So I'm surprised that number as a whole isn't higher, honestly, because early on, I mean, it could due to the fact that they were still learning how to play with each other. The chemistry wasn't entirely there. They were learning under Dusty May, So I'm going to say that learning that fast and getting adjusted that quickly to your teammates. 11.7 is okay. 9.6 pretty good, pretty disciplined. So good on Dan Hurley for getting that corrected. Personal fouls, 16.3. UConn committed just a tad bit more fouls versus 15.5 for Michigan. Now we look at the Evan Mia rating. So I didn't want to only use KenPom. I wanted to use another source of information, another resource for me to kind of back up my claims as to why the 26 Michigan team was more superior to the 24 UConn team. So Evan Mia offensive rating actually shows 20.1 versus 20 on the dot for Michigan, which obviously differs for what KenPom shows. So they obviously use a different metric. They use a different formula as to how they get those ratings. And I can break that down later as to how they do that. I'm pretty sure both sites explain how they calculate that stuff. But Evan Mia is showing them obviously a little bit closer than what KenPom shows. Evan Mia defensive rating, 14.4, 18.2 for Michigan. And then the Evan Mia overall, this is like relative rating is pretty much KenPom's net rating. So 38.2 for Michigan versus 34.5 for the 24 UConn team. I think what people are seeing when it comes to the 2024 UConn team is they see the star power, right? You have Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan, and obviously they see Alex Caravan. Like those three are the big names. They also had Tristan, what was his name? Tristan Newsome and Cam Spencer, I want to say, as the other two starters. But those guys obviously not doing a whole lot in the league, if at all. So I think what people are seeing is, oh, well, Stephon Castle's doing well for the Spurs, and Donovan Clingan is looking really good for a sophomore. And he also had a pretty good rookie year, too. So I think that people are seeing what these players do in the NBA now. They see that and they're like, well, obviously, if Stephon Castle and Clingan are doing what they're doing, producing in the league, obviously they would be so and so and so in a hypothetical national championship game. And guys, like, that's just not how it works. That's just not how it works. Stephon Castle in college looked raw, and you saw that early. He looked raw. He is not the player that he is today. He's just not. Like, the personnel, the coaching, the development, like, that is all there now for him. He's getting that resource in San Antonio. He looked raw in college, and rightfully so. Like, he was a freshman. People thought that he could even come back because he looked so raw. Like, even the scouting report said, like, yeah, Stephon Castle, freak athlete, poor shooting, needs to work on that, obviously, right? But the playmaking ability was there, so you were drafting him on upside. It wasn't necessarily from production, because I'm pretty sure in college he averaged like 11 points, maybe 3 assists, 4 rebounds. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like those numbers don't jump, they don't pop at you. You know what I'm saying? So like, honestly, that sounds almost like an Elliot Cadeau stat line. So you cannot consider what players do in the league to argue, oh yeah, this team had so and so. It doesn't even matter. Let's say they had 5 guys in the NBA right now, on that team, and said, okay, they had 5 NBA players, so obviously they would beat any team in the college national championship. That's not how it works. And honestly, if you believe that, that's just a casual, lazy take. Like, that's taking the easy way out. That tells me you're not putting much thought process into it, and honestly, you're just outing yourself. Like, that's just a lazy take. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Like, you cannot compare what a player does in the NBA now to justify what they could hypothetically do in these scenarios. That 2026 Michigan team is better than the 2024 UConn team, and I have the numbers here to back it up. I mean, Yaxel, Morez Johnson, and Mara are all projected to be first rounders. So shouldn't I say, oh, well, they're going to be first rounders. They're going to go on to have good, lengthy careers in the NBA. So obviously they would have beat anybody in college. Like, that's not how it works. I'm not going to do that. You guys shouldn't do that. That's just a casual, lazy take. Use the numbers. Use the analytics. Use your eyes. Like, I've watched both teams. That 2026 Michigan team dominated. Like, you guys don't understand. They dominated, and they did it so easily, too. It took Wisconsin to shoot lights out to beat them. It took Michigan to have the worst game of the season for Duke to beat them. And I'm not trying to discredit Duke. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, well, Michigan lost because we shot ourselves in the foot, which we did. Like, I'm going to credit Duke's defense for giving Michigan players that troubleshooting. I'm not going to say Duke didn't do anything. They obviously generated that pressure, that defense, to factor in why they had a poor shooting performance. So, but nonetheless, it took a poor shooting performance from Michigan to lose by 5 points. So I mean, this Michigan team was the most dominant team that I've seen in a while. And I've been watching college basketball for a long time, guys. So that's my take. Those are my thoughts. This 2026 Michigan team is superior to the 2024 UConn team. I don't care what anyone says. If you have a take, And you want to debate it, let's debate it, because I'm all ears. I do not see what all of these content creators are saying. I'm trying to, like, I'm a patient person. I'm willing to listen, but nobody is giving me a solid reason as to why they are better. They're just simply saying they are better and expect me to just take that and run away with it. I'm not going to do that, because this 26 Michigan team was just dominant. They fucking destroyed everybody, and they were the best team that I've seen in a long time, honestly. If they are not one, they are number two as far as the best championship team in the last 20 years. Like, they were that good, guys. And I'm going to stand on that until somebody else until somebody comes up with valid reasons as to why they're not. So put it in the comments, who was the best champion that you've seen in the last 20 years. And if you don't agree with my take and you think the 2024 UConn team was better than the 2026 Michigan team, please comment down below. Let me know as to why. And don't just say, oh, because Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan are doing good in the league. Like, that's just not good enough. So, also, one more thing before I go. This was a talking point that I totally forgot to bring up. When we look at 3 losses for each team, 2026 Michigan lost to number 3 Duke here in the Pomeroy ratings for KenPom. They lost to number 8 Purdue, and they lost to Wisconsin there at 23. However, when we look at the 2024 UConn team and their 3 losses, their worst loss, I suppose, would be Creighton here at 11. They're right there. I'll zoom in on that for you guys. And then they lost to, let's see, Kansas. They're at 27. And let's see if we can find Seton Hall. There they are, number 50. So not only does the 2024 UConn have the uglier losses, Michigan has the more impressive losses. This 2024 UConn team, they won in a season where, as you can see here, there's only 3 teams with a net rating of 30 or higher. Only 3. Number 4 is a 27.99. I'll say 28. If we go to 2026 and look at Michigan, 2026 Michigan, look at these teams that they've played against. A 39.70 net rating. Arizona right behind them with a 38. Duke right behind them with a 37. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 teams with a 30, 31 or higher. Connecticut just on the cusp of 30. So not only was Michigan more dominant, had a better offense-defensive rating against tougher opponents, but they did that in a season where teams were just flat out better. I mean, if we look at the net rating alone, the 3 teams of Michigan, Arizona, and Duke all had a better net rating than the 24 UConn team. So that's another point I wanted to bring up before I end this video. So that's all I have for today, guys. Thanks.